Caines, founder, CEO, Lumos. You guys do great work in terms of analyzing the data that SBA provides on SBA lender performance. I wanted to bring you on and talk to you about something near and dear to my heart. I also know to you, small business loans. Lenders are being pressured by SBA to make more and more of these loans. Lenders, in order for it to be profitable, need to do it quickly, accurately, and prudently. Tell me where Lumos data fits in for a lender solution on underwriting small business loans.
Yeah, and thanks for inviting me on.
Of course, it's good to see you, bro.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, just to highlight, what you just said, from work that we've done, for smaller dollar lending to make sense financially for a bank, the cost to originate those needs to be reduced by about 6x to make those smaller dollar loans profitable compared to larger dollar loans. And as a result, as you know, as everyone knows, the result has been lenders focus on those larger dollar loans. And probably to make matters worse, from risk, the risk profile and the analytics that you mentioned that we've done, our risk analytics, the risk profile for those smaller dollar loans are worse than the larger dollar loans. There's a higher risk associated with that. And to make that even worse, in difficult economic times, that risk gap between the larger dollar loans and the smaller dollar loans actually gets wider. So they're naturally more risky anyway, but then in a difficult economy, that risk even widens more. So lenders need to focus on cost efficiency, like you said, and they need to focus on risk to make sure they're doing the loans they can do and then pricing those appropriately. Really so that it makes sense for the bank. And when it can make sense for the bank, that really can expand small businesses' access to capital for these smaller dollar loans. And that's exactly what we're trying to help banks do, expand that.
Yeah, managing risk is so important. Diversification is a key part of that. Lenders have a choice. They can do a $1 million loan to one borrower in one industry, or they can do $20,000, $50,000 loans. But we know the profile of those, and then comparing the risk associated with each other. And obviously 20 loans, there's a different risk associated with that, but lenders are allowed to price higher. They can go to prime plus 6.5 for those loans. Mm-hmm. And the trade-off also is easier processing. So that it's a fascinating dichotomy. But what I want to talk about is SBA lenders need to be nimble. SBA clearly understands their, quote, competition with fintech lenders. Fintech lenders say, hey, Main Street business owner, we can give you money in 24 hours. Don't worry about that 36% interest rate. We can get money in your pocket. And entrepreneurs, when they need cash, cash is king. They're going to pop for that option. SBA understands that they want to make it more affordable. SBA clearly also understands they can't be a 24-hour turnaround, but they can squeeze that time frame much more compactly. Mm-hmm. Now, SBA has their own credit score, their predictive credit score, and I've advised lenders just to use that, because a lender can choose to use their own score, but it has to be tested. Regulators need to test it. Your CPA firms need to test that. Tell me bluntly the product that you have that competes with SBA, and I'm going to ask the brutal question. Is it any better? Because I've advised lenders just go with that.
Yeah. Put
you on the spot, Brett. How's that?
That's
no softballs here.
Yeah, different scores serve different purposes, and in absence of some other scores, banks oftentimes they'll default to consumer credit score to help make that small business lending decision. And that's okay. It answers part of the story. What you're getting there is an assessment of the owner's character, really, which is one of the C's of credit. So, with that consumer credit score, you're getting an assessment of that owner's credit. There's a lot of other factors that go into that. And then, especially as you get into smaller loans, SBSS popular score tends to work well for the larger dollar loans as well. Works well at showing a business's credit performance, but a lot of times these smaller businesses don't have that historical credit performance shown there. So where Lumos differs is we're taking more macroeconomic factors into account with our prediction, and then we're taking in localized economic factors as well. So we'll look at broadly unemployment rates all the way down to the county level, how that has historically impacted loans. We use that to feed the model to predict how it may impact in the future. Inflation rates, 10-year, 2-year treasury spread, labor force participation rate. So we're bringing in a lot of economic data, and then also industry data. So we'll use industry data on how an industry is expected to do. So just bringing in more factors that give a more robust view into that credit performance, which as businesses get smaller becomes more and more valuable in your prediction.
I'm a big data guy. I think the more data we have, but then to understand the data is great. SBA right now, their score is, if you have a 155 SBA score, anecdotally, the lenders I talk to, that translates to a roughly 640, 650 FICO score. Yeah, they have other components. We don't know what's in their black box, and I'm not criticizing them for that. That's their decision. So we do know that they accept that, and they have smart people there, and they run it and they adjust it. I think it was 140, then they upped it to 155. So lenders can do that. And I think if you're a smaller lender and you're doing the smaller loans to round out your portfolio, take care of your borrowers, that's fine. But if you're a larger lender and you want to do this prudently, and you don't want to, I go back. Now I'm dating myself, Brett. I'm going back to the Great Recession where the Bank of America executive said, our small business loan portfolio is a damn disaster. So we certainly want to manage the risk appropriately. And that's why I think lenders need to look at all other alternatives. I strongly do not recommend that you try to build one internally unless you're one of the major Wall Street banks and you have data gurus crunching numbers. That's fine. But that's why I'm very intrigued by all the optional vendor systems out there. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about. Lenders must look, there's congressional pressure and there's SBA pressure. Lenders must lower their average loan size. SBA, to their credit, they're not mandating it, but a smart lender will say, okay, we need to come up with a product that we can manage prudently and not have a damn disaster portfolio. Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. SBA they've done a wonderful job with program tweaks to help lenders more actively reduce that average loan size. And something that you said just a moment ago kind of sparked a thought with Lumos as it relates to understanding the risk. When we return the probability of default or expected loss to the lender, we're very transparent with the factors influencing that expected loss or that probability of default. So we tell you the top 10 factors that's influencing that. So why it's getting the risk rate it's getting. And it's not a black box, very transparent in how that works, which, as lenders think about risk, it's good to know those things. More data, the better.
Brett, I appreciate you coming on. Great explanation of what lenders can do to address this issue. Brett Caines, founder, CEO, Lumos. Thanks, Brett. Thanks for
Thank you. Thanks, Bob.